If COVID-19 wasn't dominating the news right now, what would be some of the biggest stories right now? Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment down below. The US government wanting to ban end-to-end encryption. What I've heard is that companies that continue to use end-to-end encryption will be stripped of their Section 230 protections. They will then be responsible for any illegal shit found on their platform, which will really mess up every social networking platform, because there's gonna be illegal shit on there. Companies that comply and remove their end-to-end encryption will keep their Section 230 protections, but essentially open up their platform to a host of security vulnerabilities. As a cybersecurity enthusiast, I should point out that a ton of its supporters seem very uninformed on the benefits of end-to-end encryption. It's a stupid idea. Edit. For those wondering why the government is even considering this, it's because the bill's supporters claim it will bring child predators to justice. It's a stupid idea that won't work, and I honestly don't see how anyone with the slightest bit of clarity could think otherwise. The US government trying to pass an anti-child porn law that actually just gives them the ability to search through all of our messages. This is worse than forcing you to hand over a key to your house to the police. It's like outlawing locks on doors. The nearly 2-year-long Ebola outbreak in the DRC has ended. The last patient to be treated has survived. The people who get out there to treat patients are some of the world's biggest heroes. I can't imagine how scary it must be to be living in a place with an Ebola outbreak going on. Thank God it's all over now. That was the last bit of positive news I got before all this started happening. The 2020 presidential election. Never thought I'd be thankful for a pandemic. The former king of Spain and his Swiss accounts, and the fact that through those accounts, he received 100 million euros from Saudi Arabia, and that he's being sued in the UK for threatening his ex-lover, all the while Spanish courts refused to open an investigation. The locust plaguing East Africa, the Middle East, and the Indian subcontinent. Some swarms are the size of New York, and they are eating their harvest, threatening widespread famine. I think without coronavirus, we would mobilize to try to control this population the way we did for Zika carrying mosquitoes in the Americas. The oil price war. Saudi Arabia is trying to force the Russians into cutting production, since they won't play ball with OPEC+, and US shale might pay the price, as we need high cost for this entire industry to function. One of the main routes into downtown Seattle, the West Seattle Bridge, was closed yesterday because cracks in support beams made it structurally unsound. It will take several months to fix and will not reopen until it's done. This would normally destroy the entire Seattle commute, but it happened right now, so it's barely even a blip on the local news. That Putin changed his country's constitution so he can be president until 2036. I think we've all known for a while that dude's going to leave power in a casket, and not a moment sooner. ISIS bombs Sikh place of worship in Afghanistan. Afghan officials say 25 were killed and 8 more are wounded in an attack on the Sikh temple in the nation's capital. It appears multiple gunmen stormed the temple complex, while there were approximately 150 people inside. A Sikh who took cover says the militants went room to room, shooting and throwing hand grenades. The Islamic State organization has claimed responsibility. Seoul, the 23rd of March, more than 2 million people have signed an online petition, as of Monday, demanding the government unveil the identity of a man who allegedly ran a group chat room where photos and videos of violent sex acts involving underage victims were distributed. At least 74 victims are known to have been exploited in the so-called nth room case, in which a man surnamed Cho allegedly lured victims into taking naked photos, and later threatened and exploited them into more gruesome sex acts. Cho, who used the nickname Baksa, which means doctor or guru in Korean, is accused of distributing the videos in a group chat room on the messaging service Telegram, where at least 10,000 users are suspected of paying Cho to watch the videos. Police have so far tracked down 124 people in relation to the case, including Cho and 17 others who have been formally detained. The user who is suspected of first creating the chat room, however, still remains at large. Astronomer here. We might have a bright naked eye comet next month in the northern hemisphere, our first since 1997. Comet C/2019, Atlas Y4, is brightening really quickly, and by May might be one of the brightest things in the night sky. I mean, comets are notoriously tricky to predict in brightness, as it might just break apart as it gets closer to the sun. But it's really exciting to think about, albeit no one has heard about it because of the pandemic. Edit. You might be able to get it in binoculars right now, or at least have fun trying. And yes, the last bright northern hemisphere great comet was Hale-Bopp, which was up for about a year to the naked eye, if you were a southern hemisphere resident in 2006. However, you probably remember Comet McNaught. Edit 2, because many are asking. That bright star in the evening sky is actually Venus. It's around its peak brightness and height right now, and you should go take a look if your social distancing allows it. Might as well take a break from Netflix and look at a whole nother planet. Edit 3. No, there is no chance of the comet hitting us, or affecting life on Earth. CRISPR was just successfully injected into a live patient to treat genetically caused blindness. Egypt and Ethiopia are close to going to war, due to Ethiopia building a dam on the Nile River. Ethiopia is diverting some water and limiting water flow to Egypt. The Ethiopian government is refusing to honor previous agreements made that detail the rate at which they will fill the lake behind their dam, and they refuse to negotiate any further with the Egyptians. The insider trading scandal in Congress. It's disgraceful. Politicians shouldn't be allowed to own stock. This is blatant, but it makes you wonder how many more subtle buy and sells were done on privy information. Edit. A few people talking about blind trusts. That's probably better than not owning stocks, assuming they don't get to choose when to buy and sell. The ozone layer is getting better. Yes, the Hong Kong protests are still ongoing. Bill Gates leaving Microsoft. Weinstein. The bill Congress is trying to push through to end encryption, voter suppression. The list could go on. Even Weinstein getting coronavirus barely seemed to be a blip on the news radar. The earthquake in Zagreb. I know this is COVID-19 related, but the pubs are shut here in Ireland. The pubs are shut in Ireland. You know when Wile E. Coyote runs off a cliff and is hanging in midair with feet still spinning desperately? That's what this feels like. Tom Brady has quit the New England Patriots and signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The fact scientists discovered a new dinosaur that was the size of a hummingbird, and they also found a new exoplanet behind Pluto in our solar system.